Are you ready?
You are live.
No, I can't be live. Are you ready?
No.
No, I'm not ready either. Let's just end it.
Okay.
Sure. Are you
See
ready?
you later.
Well, hey everyone. Happy Wednesday. We are coming to you from Dallas, home in Dallas, and also Dallas.
We are in Dallas.
Yeah. So it's been kind of a busy week. A lot of buyers for us. A lot of showings and things like that. And then also just kind of keeping track of the market, preparing for videos and things like that.
Fun.
Fun things. Our job, right? So one thing we've really noticed, and it's honestly kept us a lot busier this spring and summer, is how much inventory is up. It has really been an interesting year for that. And like how it affects us is, in the low inventory years, maybe, you'd meet your buyers, they'd come into town, you might show them, 5 homes, but tell them about tell them about your last week. We had a buyer in for 2 days. How many homes did you show in 2 days?
We had every bit of Rockwall, so I know that much.
Yeah.
So.
I remember I think it was like 18. He literally showed 18 homes in 2 days. And so that tells you inventory is like ridiculously up. And then for us too, it's slower getting our buyers under contract because there's so much to look at, that they we'll show them, we'll spend a day showing homes and then they'll kind of think about it for a while. And not really moving forward. Was like in 2021, you had to race into it. You had to race home as a realtor. There was already a highest and best, deadline. It is not like that at all right now.
Well, there are a few. We've seen some that suddenly they were gone because the buyer waited. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess the man is right.
I'm always right.
So he thinks. Anyway, so inventory increases come from 2 sources: less buyers and more houses. So we're seeing, one or the other, either way, whatever's getting there, that's where we are. We have high inventory. Hey, Rhonda. Rhonda says hello. Hey, Rhonda. Anyway, so we wanted to talk to you guys about that today because, it should go to stand to reason that when we see inventory go up, we see prices going down, and we are definitely seeing that in some areas. In some areas, and we actually have a nice little chart because charts, it's a given. That we're going to go through the areas
with the queen.
There's probably some truth to that. I think that I should probably get a name tag that says chart queen. Anyway, so we have actually prepared a slideshow with, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 of the biggest price drops that we're seeing right now. But that's not necessarily across the board. We have also had some tell us, be very rigid with us. We were just negotiating a sale in Winsong Ranch in Prosper. And that sales consultant was like, you know what? The price goes up this weekend. And we've been told the price is going up and we're taking away incentive. So it's not across the board. Who was it which community was it where they were putting that on us? We're lowering the incentive. Was that Forny?
No, that wasn't Forny.
No, William Ryan Homes, maybe. Anyway, so we're definitely seeing it in both tracks. And saw this. Too many. I saw this article and I was like, yes, this is exactly what's happening. So let me go back here and show you this one. Really interesting article by Dallas Morning News. National home prices break another record, but Dallas sees slower growth. And this is absolutely happening. And it's because we've got so much inventory. National home prices broke another record in March, but Dallas-Fort Worth's increase was more muted. When we say muted, picture up in some places, really, really down in others. And
or just slower growth.
Yeah. Buyers not in a hurry because there's so much to choose from. If we're at a buffet table with 20 different food items, you might take your time. And that's what we're seeing with our buyers. DFW home prices were up 3.6%. So they're still up, just not compared to what they were because the national was 6.5%.
Yep.
It's part of a continuing trend in 2024 as North Texas home prices grow at a slower pace. Very true. Of the 20 major metros, Dallas had one of the smallest annual increases of the group. Only Denver, Portland, Oregon, and Minneapolis reported lower increases. From February to March, Dallas reported a 1.2% price increase, just slightly below the national average. So we just kind of got a sluggish market. This comes after DFW. Now this part, man, I don't even like reading this because it's just, I'm so over it. This comes after DFW had some of the largest home price increases in the country for most of 2021 and 2022. Yeah. With year-over-year price increases of more than 10 and 20% at times. Annual price increases reached a record 31%. That's just mind-boggling. I just remember thinking this, I hate this. It's so unhealthy. In April 2022, before hitting year-over-year declines from March to August. The Northeast. So the interesting thing is the Northeast is still doing very well. Prices going up, top performer, 8.3% annual gain, robust growth. Conversely, cities like Tampa, Phoenix, and Dallas, which saw top tier performance in 2020 and 2021, are now going at a slower pace. The Case-Shiller Index. Now, this I think is interesting. Wanted to point this out to you. The Case-Shiller Index, okay, it measures changes in the total value of all existing single-family housing stock. It does not sample sales prices associated with new construction. And I think that's really relevant because a lot of times when you're looking at reports, whatever, realtor.com or NAR, whatever, they don't make that distinction for you. They don't tell you, they don't remind you, hey, by the way, this doesn't include everything. Because in Dallas, everything, there's a ton of new construction that just never hits the measurements. So I thought that was really interesting that they did that in March. Now this, we're starting to get to the inventory part of the article. In March, active listings in North Texas increased by nearly 35% compared to the previous year. The number of active listings in the DFW Metroplex was 24,128 last month, up nearly 46% from a year earlier. And in a minute, I'm going to show a chart because charts. I'm going to show you a chart broken down by county. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's even more astronomical than what we're seeing here. DFW had 3.2 months of housing inventory in April, approaching pre-COVID levels. Increases in availability of existing homes for sale and new construction has helped Dallas home price growth remain muted this spring and offer more choices to potential buyers. So very true. I found that I was thinking, that's exactly what we're seeing. Seeing a lot more inventory out there. And like I said, buyers can be pickier, Yeah. They can be choosier. They can take their time. And we're seeing that. We'll spend, like I said, I say we, but mostly I just mean you. I'm the video person. He's the guy that does all the showings, and he actually really likes it. He really enjoys getting out there and meeting people. Anyway, doing lots of showings because buyers have so much to see, and you just can't see it all in one place. And constantly our emails are blowing up with motivated seller. Hey, reverse prospecting. Look, I see that your buyer likes this. Take a look. And plus also a lot of incentives from the builders. Like they're offering realtors that partly they offer realtors bigger payment, but a lot also like forward commitments. So definitely seeing that. But let me show you my numbers from Netra's trends. Okay. So you saw, what the Dallas Morning News said about the MLS altogether, right? So this is more broken down by county. So Collin County, that's everybody's baby, right? April, 69% increase in inventory year over year. Now, when I saw that in April, my thought was, now it's going to start going down. Now we're going to see buyers entering the market. It's spring. If we follow our pattern of seasonality, it's going to go down. And so then in May, I saw and I was like, okay, yes, this is following what I expected, 57. And so that was beginning of May, then May 25. So then I started checking weekly. I was like, I got to see what's going on here. May 25, 56%, but then June, oh my goodness, 70% increase in inventory year over year. That one really surprised me. And then June 11th, so June 4th, 70%, June 11th, we dropped a little bit. So this is it's not super common to see this kind of inventory going up, right? You would think it would be coming down. Now you would expect new homes on the market to be coming up, right? Because it's in the summer months. they're listing their homes for sale. So, but this is the actual number of homes for sale.
Yeah.
So that's Collin County way up. This is Dallas County. You're going to see kind of the similar trajectory. I saw 56% in April, saw it go down in May. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Down in May, but then in June, it popped back up again. And the same in June 11th. So June 4th and June 11th, we saw it go just a little bit lower. Denton County, again, I saw that trend and I thought I had the market all figured out.
Steady, but
but they're fairly steady. They went, so in May, they stayed low, but in June.
I think all these areas though, even in Dallas, I mean, if you look around, if you drive around any place where there's new construction, they're just building like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of that's part of it. I mean, if you go just a few months back and you see there wasn't much there, and now there's a ton.
It's crazy. So, yeah. You drive by
and that's why. Well, that's one of the big reasons why we don't get these huge bubbles or crashes in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, so. Although 2021 was pretty ugly, but
yeah,
I guess
I still wouldn't call it a bubble. But
I guess what would have really made it a bubble is if it had popped,
Yeah.
And that's the thing is it went up really aggressively, but then let's see here now, Denton County. Okay, so Rockwall County, 28% again dropped in May, and then again came up in June. Okay, so we're seeing during a time when in June we should be seeing inventory go down. All these buyers entering the market. It's not what we're seeing. Tarrant County, again, same thing. It was just a very similar trend. 40% in April, 30%, then 30%, 39, and 35. So in May, we saw it go back up. You can see so far that Collin County has been the heaviest hit.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, man. Collin County, you've got Salina, you've got Princeton, Anna. You've got all these people just belting out. Yeah.
They're still there. I mean, they're still building in all those places. So.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they would have so much inventory. Ellis County, 56% up year over year in April, dropped in May, and then they've kind of held steady.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't seen any big changes, which kind of surprised me because we've seen a lot of just homes sitting on the market in Ellis County.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So really that I think that shows this weird year. So when I see that, I start thinking, okay, this means that prices have got to drop. That when we see this much, we would expect it. And like I said, Windsong Ranch, one of the most popular communities out there, she was just like, we're raising our prices. So it's not across the board. Big thing is you got to know your market, or you got to have an agent who does, because if you're told, let's just say you're told in Windsong Ranch they're raising prices, you might head on over to Rockwall and expect to have to offer aggressively. And in Rockwall, they're not raising the prices. So that's a big thing is because you've got this huge variation. I mean, you see it, you're out there doing showings all the time. I know you said recently, was it Shattuck, that they were just rolling out the red carpet?
Yeah, I mean that was in Fate. So I mean it really depends on location though. I mean, so because Shattuck and Salina, they were not that way. So it was hard to get a hold of them. And that was Light Farms, and they built super fast and finished it off. So
so on Tuesday, I cleared my schedule thinking I'm going to do. We're going to do a live stream. I want to analyze the market and see where our biggest price drops are. And I think I probably spent, I would say at least 6 hours just entering data and jotting down notes and looking. So I want to show you guys the places that I found. I want to show you where I saw the biggest price drops. And the first one is Devonshire in Forny. And then this one got me really excited because we actually have a buyer that's looking in Devonshire right now, but unfortunately their particular preferred builder was one of the ones that wasn't coming down as much. Because Devonshire has a lot. They have a lot of builders there.
Ton of builders.
Yeah. Goodness, they really do. They have a lot. Some of them are probably built out, but you see, like when you look up, Devonshire online, you're going to see a ton of houses for sale.
This is not even the full list. There's Ashton Woods, Baser, Bloomfield, Highland, History Maker, Partners in Building. I was surprised me. Partners in Building, they do usually bigger, more luxurious type homes. Usually a lot of times 1 stories on bigger lots. Perry, Shattuck, Trophy, William Ryan, and that's not even the whole list. There were some
Yeah.
others too. So
Shattuck's a neat
Yeah.
community. I mean, Devonshire is a neat
yeah,
community.
it's huge.
It's huge, and it's just got a real nice just got a lot of amenities, to offer.
It's more North Forny area. And actually, I'm not sure that it's in city limits.
Oh, is that right?
I'm not positive, but it's more north part.
So what I saw in Forny, Devonshire, was offers accepted as low as 87% of the list price. So on some of these homes, and it was one builder, right? Okay, so you had all these builders. I'm looking at all these builders, and it's one of them that is just coming down way more than the others, and that one still has homes for sale too. So that spelled opportunity to me, if you like their style. Average acceptance rate of all the builders, 96%. So you don't want to go into Devonshire and offer, the full 100%. Okay, there's room to negotiate, even with the ones that are not coming. So you definitely have some builders who are just not coming down as much.
And they haven't all started building, all the builders there, and it really depends. And some of them had decent amount of inventory, and some of them were just getting started. And sometimes, though, when builders are just getting started in neighborhoods, they kind of push to get some sales so they can make it look like they're doing well. So
I always tell people that. I'm like, you have an opportunity when you see in a community where they're just starting out, because the builders want to validate that area. Nobody wants to move into a field. So, so if you can, at the front end, you just have to be okay with knowing there's going to be construction vehicles probably there for a long time. Anyway, so this is where Devonshire is. I don't know if you guys can see the little red circle. I've got a star on downtown Dallas to kind of give you perspective there. Don't think my cursor will show up, but it's east. So you're talking about being due east of Dallas. People like Forney that have to commute into Dallas, because you can get an affordable home, and also be reasonably close. Median sales price, by the way, in Kaufman, $488,000 in Devonshire. Sorry, Kaufman County, Forney, Devonshire, $488,000. So this is a bit of an upper scale community for Forney, because Forney has a lot of $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 homes. This isn't like $1 million home, right?
Yeah.
Because I would definitely not want to invest in like $1 million home in Forney. But that's where Devonshire is. Got some good offers going on. Next one, also in Forney, is Briarwood Hills. Okay, and your average acceptance rate in Briarwood is even lower. Okay, average acceptance rate 94%.
I think that was a Meritage and.
So builder here, Briarwood Hills, accepting offers as low as 88%. And if I recall, I think when I looked on the MLS, they had a lot still out there. And I remember, this is one of the ones that I wrote down, huge opportunity, because they had a lot that was still out there.
Yeah, Impression Homes was in there too, but they're closed out. That's right. I remember I looked that up. But Meritage is still building in there.
Yeah. So that's Briarwood Hills. Let me show you where that is. Same place, Forney, just a little bit more on the north side there. I don't know if you can see that little sign there. Next one we saw was in Collin County, Melissa. In the city of Melissa, Meadow Run. Okay, check this out. Accepting offers as low as 82% of the list price. All right, average acceptance rate, 93%. What blew me away as I was looking at this was seeing that that some buyers had paid, like, I think one buyer had paid like 113% of the list price. And I just felt so bad, because I was like, they don't know that the builders are offering like 82% of the list price. So that tells you even more when you see an average acceptance rate of 93%, knowing that there was at least one buyer who paid well above. That tells you you've got a lot of motivation there in Melissa. What do you think about Melissa?
I see more people looking into it, but people have questions, I think, about it with the landfill up there, and then also the multifamily that's going in up there and stuff. Though I hear they have some really nice multifamily setups up there.
That's the biggest objection I've heard, is the landfill.
Yeah, but you're real close to 75. Get places fast, things like that. But
here it is on the map.
That neighborhood has got Ashton Woods and Pacesetter in it. They both had decent amount of inventory.
So 82% of list price. Average acceptance rate, people, 93%. Don't go there and pay full list price, okay? 93% average acceptance rate. Median sales price there, $559. So as I was looking through here, I kind of went in with the preconceived notion that I was probably going to find a lot in the entry level range, because I was thinking it's harder for people to buy a $300,000 home that don't have equity, probably first time buyers, right? So I was kind of going in thinking, I bet I'm going to find bigger deals in the lower price range. And I did to a degree. I'll see that in a minute. But in Melissa, $559, that's not really like an entry level.
Yeah.
So anyway, there it is. I don't know if you guys can see, it's on the far north side. Meadow Run. It's way up north.
Right off of 75.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Meadow Run, so it's a little further
see that?
southeast. So
Yeah.
it's on the edge, south edge.
Yeah.
Of Melissa.
Let's see. Okay, Rockwall, Royce City. Look at the carnage here. Accepting offers as low as 70% of the list price in Wildwood.
Yeah, I think that's a DR Horton only one too. So
average acceptance rate 96%. So do not go into Wildwood and pay full list price. And again, some areas are going up in price, right? So these are like coming after. I've done a lot of research, and to the extent that you've got a flexible location, maybe you work from home. I mean, you really want to, or if these are already areas you were considering, definitely want to keep these in mind. Median sales price here, $345,000. And again, 70% average acceptance rate. I mean, accepting offers as low as 70%. And there you have Wildwood. So if you can see, it's like north and east. Straight up, what is that highway?
Not as far north as Melissa. It's more east.
Yeah, north and east. Yeah.
It's like south of Royce City.
Yeah. Comments I've heard about Royce City, I've heard a lot about the traffic. That people aren't happy about the traffic because you got to cross the bridge, you got to cross the lake. And you got to go through Rockwall and Fate before you get home.
Yeah. And all the FM roads that are not built up. And actually, you ought to just take a Saturday sometime and try to drive from Forny to Royce City sometime. See how long that takes.
Is this motorcycle ride material?
No, it's too much traffic.
Too much traffic. Okay. All right. Let's see here now. So that's Wildwood. All right. Also Creekshaw.
Yeah.
Creekshaw in Royce City. Saw some good deals there. Accepting his offers as low as 91%. Can't compete with Wildwood. Okay, Wildwood was definitely 70%.
PR Horton only, but
yeah. Average acceptance rate 96% on that one. So again, you're seeing like you would never want to pay full list price. This one's got a little slightly higher median sales price of $405.
Yeah, a little more mid-level builders. K-Hov is probably the top one there, then Highland Homes and David Weekly.
So there you have Creekshaw. You can see right there. Denton, Stuart Ridge.
That's another DR Horton only one. I went showed some people there.
Have you shown
some? They didn't want to back off on the price there too much until we told them we were looking at others, and then they kind of started to come down. But it's just that there's not much in that neighborhood, not much to offer. It's not close to things. It's northeast of Denton. There's not as much in that area. So,
I mean, you bring up a good point. Sometimes you meet with the sales consultant and they're like, we're just not coming down in price. And it can be a tough decision. I always ask our buyers, how emotionally attached are you to this home? How many other homes have you been finding that work for you? When the sales consultants come back, because you can call their bluff if it is a bluff. Sometimes it's not. I tell buyers every time, okay, builders for each community, builders treat each community like a separate business. Basically, they have a budget for each one, and they know how far they can go. They give the sales consultants there so much that they can work with. Sometimes there's nothing to work with, but they give them something that they can come down on. And then they know the VPs there know there's a little bit more. So I always ask them, will you take us back up to management and see where they'll go? But they know what they're, what they need to be able to make money there. So you just, sometimes some of them are easy to get to tell you that, and some of them won't tell you. So sometimes the sales consultants, they'll be able to come down lower, and they just refuse. So you're dealing with multiple layers. If you can get them to go to management.
Yeah, I always ask them, hey, are you willing to
Yeah,
Are
well,
you
you
at
just
least
take
willing
it.
to
Yeah,
ask?
just try, just
Yeah.
ask. That's one. Yeah, one that we've been negotiating here recently. We were stuck on a $2,500 difference in price, and the sales consultant was like, "Absolutely not. I am not budging," and our buyer was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not budging." And so we waited several days. Next thing you know, sales consultant reaches back out and says, "All right, let's talk some more. I think we can make this happen." So sometimes they will tell you, no. And if the house continues to sit, then they'll come back to you. But you have to make the decision. How emotionally am I attached to this house? How perfect is it? How much else have I been seeing that I like? Right? Because what we don't want is to hold out and then have you lose one that was perfect for you, because then you're discouraged. It's hard to get back on the horse again. It's hard to start looking again, because you're just like, oh, that one was perfect. So if you have like this really big emotional attachment, it becomes a lot harder. But if you're like, I've looked at 10 different ones, all of them would work for me, then you can hold out a little bit more. Okay, let me see here now. Where were we? Let's see here now. Yes, Denton, Stuart Ridge, 91%. Average acceptance rate, 93%. Okay, so that's a pretty low acceptance rate. So that tells you, like some of these, like this Wildwood, you see 70%, then you see average acceptance of 96. So you know that 70% was pretty much an anomaly. Yeah. But in Stuart Ridge, 91% and average acceptance 93%. That tells you that they're not, that they're coming down on everything. So big opportunity. Theirs is Stuart Ridge. I don't know if you can see, but that is quite a trek. We're talking way up north.
Way north of Denton. There's not much there. There's some shopping and stuff closer to 35 there, but you're a little bit off of 35. So
who would you say is
actually we went from there, we went over to another DR Horton. It wasn't, I think they are at DR Horton only, Silverado over in Aubrey, and there's a lot nicer neighborhood and better shopping and stuff because you're closer to 380. So
interesting. So I, Denton, not going to be a good fit for anybody that's got to commute to any of the downtowns. It's just too far. So definitely something good for remote work. So there's Denton, Stuart Ridge. Let me see what else we have here. Okay, let me go backwards here. Wylie, the Dominion of Pleasant Valley. Now, I like Wylie. I like their schools.
It's kind of an interesting.
It's an interesting area.
Neighborhood there too. That's almost not Wylie.
Oh, is that right?
It's pretty close to Garland.
Oh, okay.
It's Saxe.
Oh, question. What school district is it in?
It's at least half of it's Garland ISD. It's partly in Dallas ISD and partly in Dallas County and partly in what's Wylie? Collin County. Sorry.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I have it showing right here as Dallas County. So that's where I found Dominion of Pleasant Valley. Right. So was the Dallas County.
I know the Grand Homes. So it's Grand Homes and what was the other one? Coventry. Yeah. And they're, I know the Grand Homes is in Dallas.
And by the way, excellent mojito tonight. You outdid yourself. It was very good. Hopefully you guys are all out there enjoying happy hour, just like we are. Okay, so that one, 86%, average acceptance 90%. So again, you see these coming in closer. So you know that either there's not that many, and I can't remember how many there were, or they're coming down on everything, right? So, and median sales price 551. And remember I was saying that I kind of expected everything to be low. It's not necessarily what I found. All right, there is Wylie.
Those two builders are not known for being lower priced homes either. Grand Homes and Coventry.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. I like Wylie because I really like their schools. But a lot of people are turned off by Wylie because they drive through it and just kind of your main road into town. It's not a particularly
on the north side. Yeah. If you come up through Saxe, it's still some of the like grandfathered stuff in, mostly more on the north side, just west of town. But grandfathered. 78 goes through it, and there's a lot of older style strip stores and stuff like that on 78 up in that part of Wylie. And I mean, there's some nice parts of it too. You're close to the lake if you're on the north side. Yeah.
It's like if they would just clean up that road and broaden it and make it more accessible, I think that would help Wylie so much.
I think there's plans. It's just, takes a while.
Yeah. It's just that you just drive through it and you're like, what is all this ugliness? What is this city like? And it just kind of turns you off. And then by the time you get there, it's really not that bad of a community. It has outstanding, amazing schools like Wylie ISD. And did you say this one was not in Wylie ISD? Is it in Garland ISD?
Well, so yeah, at least the part I didn't look to see what the other part, because it's in, like I said, it splits right. It's right on the line of Dallas County and Collin County. And so the Dallas County part's in Garland ISD, which is an open school district.
That is something that's very relevant. I was working on a video today, or I recorded a video today where I talked about Garland, because Garland has an open school district and it's a 30-minute commute to Dallas. And so like you look at it and you're like, I don't like those schools, but you can take your pick. And so like 10 out of, I think 40 of the elementary schools in Garland are all 8 out of 10s or higher. And so if you can know that, okay, this is open school district, hey, I can get me a short commute. And, there's some nice little, not a whole lot of new construction there, but the one I was talking about today was Riverset.
Oh, yeah. They ought to be just about done.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Okay. And lastly, Midlothian. Okay. Midlothian Hayes Crossing, accepting offers as low as 87% of the list price, average acceptance rate 94%, and again, we're looking at a median sales price of $600,000.
So that's the lowest in Midlothian.
Yeah,
there's several. I mean, there's like tons of new construction communities in Midlothian.
Yeah.
It's like the new construction capital of the U.S.
I'm telling you, it is crazy how much they've just overproduced there. And this, by the way, if you're not familiar with where Midlothian is, it's on the south side. It's actually like if you're close to 67, it's actually a pretty good trek. I mean, you can get to downtown Dallas in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, it's very desirable, has a ton of new construction. Schools are not great in Midlothian, but it's still a really neat community. It's very safe, has very low crime, has a really high community feel, like people are really very community oriented. So those are the ones that we saw that stuck out of me. There's probably a lot more, but I was trying to kind of get a sampling of every county, right? And so we touched on all the major counties there. A lot of opportunity, really is a lot of opportunity. Let me take a look at these questions. All right, first question from Kay. Would you wait until winter to buy? That's a tough one.
Depends on what you want and where you want to buy.
It depends on you. I mean, it's up to you. So if you're like, I can buy anytime, right? Then the next question is, well, how unpicky are you? How flexible are you? Because you are going to have less inventory in the winter. So if you're like, hey, my options are pretty open and I don't have to buy to get my little ones in school or anything like that, then yeah, I think I would wait till winter to buy. Prices are lower then. You just have to be aware, again, you're not going to have as much to choose from.
Sometimes though, if you're gonna buy to build from scratch, though, those prices are usually higher then because you're building, because you get more demand for that time, because those people are building to have homes to move into in the late spring, early summer time frame. So
it is true that with new builds, it is kind of different. Yeah. Or let's see here, he continues, or maybe end of the season where there may be a larger amount of inventory and price decreases. That's probably a good strategy versus the dead of winter, because I mean, a lot of times the builders will kind of slow down November, right? But if you come straight off the head of, typically June is when you see like the apex of prices kind of starts to go down a little bit in July, because everybody that was going to close before the school started are already under contract. And so then by August, you kind of begin to see like a downward trajectory, bottoms out like in January. So you want to catch it ideally when the prices are coming down, of course, but and again, it depends on how particular you are on location and style of home.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're like, only a certain amount of locations will work, and this is my budget, and your budget is restrictive as well as your location, then you've got to try to hit it when inventory's up, which is now. It's going to be interesting to see what inventory does over the fall months, because it's really high right now. So are we going to see less people entering the market? All right, let's see. Next question. Do you have an opinion on why so much more inventory is coming up in DFW? I mean, I
Well,
think
it's-
that's a great question.
It's one of the higher building areas. And there's so much space to build, so you do get that much inventory. Maybe I just was wondering if also the fact that sellers decided, well, look, we got to sell anyway. We got it, so let's just start selling. So, and I think there's a little bit of pent up thing about the rates. Like you've been expecting them to come down. They did a little bit in January. People kind of jumped in then, and then they went back up, and maybe they're starting to come down. So yeah, a little bit of that too.
I remember thinking that as well, that a lot of people bought the hype that rates were going to come down because, I mean, even the Fed said that there were going to be a lot of rate drops. And so I think a lot of people are like, okay, finally, we've been waiting to move out of this house. We have 10 kids now. We got to get out of this 3-bedroom. No, I don't know. And then when they did list, suddenly rates went go back up, and now they're just sitting there. So I know, like on Facebook, man, I see people lowering prices all the time, and they're constantly, the houses are coming out there, plus in our email. I think so. You've got buyers who've been waiting forever to enter the market. Okay. And I think that's partly, but then you've also got all of this new construction, right?
Oh,
So,
and okay, a lot of those buyers were sellers too.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And that's what I meant. I meant sellers. Yeah. The sellers that have been waiting to enter the market. Sorry, I said that wrong. And then you have your new construction. And then the third one is, I think you have so many build to rent and so much explosion of the rental sphere, high density housing. You've got a ton of that. And so people are like, well, this is really nice, new, shiny, high density housing. Why should I enter the market to buy? I like what I have right here.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that also, because remember, inventory is going to come from less buyers, more houses, both sides. Yeah. So I think we also have less buyers just because it's so much to choose from with the rentals as well. All right. Patrick. I said Patrick. Pratik Patel. What is your opinion on Justin? Price looks reasonable.
Yeah.
Justin is nice. It's the higher end. It's higher than Hazlitt. It's kind of like the two are pretty close, and Justin's more upper scale than Hazlitt.
Yeah, I would say there's more. So Justin was smaller or farther away from the bigger apartment because Hazlitt's closer to Fort Worth and Denton and all that, and then Justin's further out. So, but they did some nice communities out there and building.
Yeah.
It is a drive depending where you want to go, but yeah,
that's a good
114.
point. That is an excellent point. And I remember feeling that way when we went out there. I was just like, oh my goodness, we've been on the road forever trying to get to this place.
Yeah.
So it seems to be built. My impression was higher quality. Like when I see places like Princeton and in Royce City, I see that they're letting in a lot of lower quality builders. And I don't really see that in Justin as much. It's like they're holding a higher standard, and I like that.
Maybe.
I mean, I get that affordable housing has to have its place, but gosh, how about some balance?
Yeah.
Don't let the entire city be taken over, by these lower budget ones. So yeah, that's our opinion on Justin. Let's see what we have here. Glenn, are you seeing a lot of corporate purchases in Dallas? Windmill Farms has a lot of new build rentals.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, definitely. You're seeing some of those. There's some neighborhoods where they're built for that. And they're not just the homes also, but there's been more of the multifamily as well too. So
it's interesting, and I don't want to bore you with this, but in 2007 or early 2000s, when we were buying all our rentals, it was a completely different landscape for rental properties. There were so many mom and pops that owned, this and that. Credit was really easy. You found this, mom and dad, kind of thing who had 10 rentals. It's not like that anymore. I have people ask me to help them buy rentals, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that because it's all corporate owned. And getting these people to call you back when you're trying to fill out an application is ridiculous. They're terrible. It's all these giant corporations now. So not really as active necessarily as it was, but completely different than what we saw in the early 2000s. I mean, just night and day difference. It used to be, I don't know. It's just a very different feeling. It's definitely more corporate, a lot more corporate. Okay.
Yeah, there's-
Alex. Oh my goodness, Alex, we are
there's
unlucky to mistakenly buy our home in Devonshire in 2022. Tell me
So what-
more.
Yeah. What
Why?
happened?
Yes. Tell me more because we've got buyers looking in Devonshire. So tell me, what is it? The price? What do you think? Like, tell me a little bit more, Alex. I want to know your experience with Devonshire.
Let's have another comment. there,
He also says, based on your current experience, from which states people are moving to the DFW area?
everywhere.
Oh my goodness, everywhere. Yes. Oh gosh.
We've had from the Northwest, from
Yeah.
California, from the Northeast, from the Midwest,
Mhm.
from even from Florida, from the Southeast, from
I bet we could easily
Yeah.
name off at least 15 different states
Mhm.
just this year. I bet you anything. And then that doesn't even go to mention all the different countries.
yeah. We've got
Okay,
people
because they're
from-
coming from all different countries too. And the locals that we do get, the local buyers, most of them relocated within the past year.
Yeah.
You know, and so they came and they rented for a year and then now they're ready to buy. But yeah, oh goodness, what states? You know, definitely California, Washington, Oregon, New Jersey, New York.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, Florida, like you said, Tennessee, some from Oklahoma.
Alabama, Oklahoma,
Yeah, Alabama.
Missouri,
Yeah. So Nebraska. We had one with
Nebraska,
Nebraska.
Ohio.
Yeah. So all over the place, which is like a lot of people like, I don't know, they're just like, everybody's coming from California. It's not true. It's definitely not true. They're coming from all over. Okay, let's see here now. Advait plays. Is there more inventory to Prosper, Texas? Means there might be price drop, at least a couple $100.
Starting to look at that.
Can you
see.
please light on this, your
The
opinion?
Sales price right now, median sales price is going up actually. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think there was an article recently
I
on,
know,
I think
but-
recently there was actually an article on Windsong Ranch saying it was like one of the top communities in the country or something like that. I remember seeing that going, oh, this explains so much. The sales consultants there they're kind of like snobbish even, like, yeah.
Song Ranch, yeah.
Not only are we not going to lower our price, we're raising our prices this weekend. So you
Yeah.
better hurry up and sign. A lot of pressure there. If you can get, I think a lot of people that are like wanting Prosper ISD specifically end up going to the Salina, the southern part where they can also get Prosper ISD. So is inventory growing in, take a look here on homes for sale. What's inventory looking like in Prosper?
It's going up too since
Okay.
December 165 up to 275.
So he's looking at Prosper and its inventory is up year over year by 31%. How about percent of original list price? What are they accepting? So right there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Okay,
It's up only 1%.
yeah. So your median accepted price compared to original price in Prosper is 97.7%. So you wouldn't want to go in there necessarily and pay 100% of list price unless you're buying in Windsong Ranch.
Yeah.
In which case they may force you to.
Or maybe Mosaic or one of those.
Yeah, one of the hot ones.
Or
So
Star
that was the
Trails,
median
yeah.
percent of original price, and 96.9%. So in Prosper, they are coming down off of price some, certainly. So, and let's see, days on market. We're looking at 29 days on the market, median, 43 days on average. But so Prosper, I would say, is holding its own. It's a popular suburb. It really is. It's expensive, but it's very popular. All right, let's see here now. Ives says, wife and I looking to relocate to Dallas. Not sure which area is best, but like Frisco area. From what we researched, we have an 8-month-old and 2-year-old. Any suggestions for us? We want good schools. What would your suggestions be, Master?
Depends on what you want. Frisco there are definitely some nice places, but you're definitely most likely going to pay more independent if you're looking at older. Though I've seen some, if you're okay to look for older homes, I have some clients now that are looking they predominantly look Frisco, Plano area. They like the West Plano and the Frisco area a lot. And you can find some deals on some older homes, especially if you're willing to go all the way back to the 90s. But it depends what you want. if you're going to go newer and new construction, it's going to be pricey. And also it's definitely a lot more crowded up there and stuff. It depends. Again, it depends on what you like. They definitely have the great schools there.
He just said
so,
we prefer new master community homes.
Yeah, it's going to be so. Maybe I guess if you're going to have to look at where you got to commute to, what do you want around you, what do you want in a home, how big.
So if you're
but there are some very nice master communities.
There really are.
In those areas, so,
and it just, of course, like you're right. Do you have a commute? Right. I mean, because that's a big question too. You got to take that into consideration. What's your budget?
Yeah.
Right.
I will tell you also things that are kind of happening with Frisco was built originally from if you go back to the 70s timeframe and stuff, they brought in a city manager, and the whole idea was that he was going to build up the sports and the tourist part of it. Mostly the sports, started with the sports, and he talked to all of the major sports teams to move their headquarters into that area, and then they did, and that was what they built the city off of around that. But now they're building it to be a very touristy town as well. The whole closer to the downtown area and closer to those areas are building. They're making very walkable with lots of shopping and sports and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And plus you'll have University Studios coming in soon, and the PGA and all that is building up. So
we have several buyers.
It's a really neat place to go. But
we have several buyers looking in Frisco right now. So plan on smaller yards. Plan on getting less bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Okay. So
if you pay more, you can get there are some neighborhoods, especially if you look at older neighborhoods that are by golf courses and stuff, like you can get nicer yards and stuff. I
was looking at some really nice Toll Brother areas, communities there right by the golf course. That was really beautiful. So it's a nice place. Depends a lot on your budget. Depends on, so you said master plan. Frisco has those, but if you want like new construction master plan, much more expensive. So like for new construction master plan, you can get more bang for your buck in Salina.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have some very nice neighborhoods up there too.
Right. And so schools, you're going to get them with Frisco, but you're also going to get them with Prosper ISD. If you're open to the east side, you can get them with Rockwall ISD. Rockwall's got well-rated schools too. Rockwall has the advantage you get with Rockwall is a lot of times you'll get a little bit bigger yard. We've got one under contract there with Grand Homes that they got a really nice yard backing up to green space.
Oh, yeah, that's more in the McClendon area.
Right. So a little bit more of a rural feel there. And they also have really good schools. Yeah. So, I would say Frisco is accomplishing what you're looking for, which is the master plan. And it's also, the good schools, but you can also find that in other places as well. So you might consider Salina, you might consider Prosper, you might even consider Rockwall. Those all have higher median sales prices. And then again, depending on your budget and depending on if you like acreage, places you don't want to consider probably are like Lucas and Parker. Those are high end, but you're not going to get the master plan model.
Well, those are minimum 1 or 2 acre lots usually.
So depends so much on your budget. Let's see here now. Alex, do you think all those sellers who definitely will not sell all 100% inventory will offer houses for rent and rental prices move down? So do we think that rental prices are going to come down?
Well, they are.
They already have.
Apparently, there's some articles that are talking about that. They already are, because they're built, like it's more about because they're building more new, multifamily places and these rent. I just looked. There was this article says this is like the top 50 communities in Dallas. So that means that there's a ton more of these build to rent communities in Dallas. So in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So they're all over the place. Yeah. Rents are coming down.
Yeah, they definitely are.
And I do see a few of even the pre-owned homes. Some people if they've been on the market a while, they'll keep them on the market, but then they'll list them for lease as well.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah. So rents are definitely coming down. Whether or not sellers will offer those houses for rent. If we're talking about new construction here, That's going to depend. There may be HOA restrictions that will come into play. And also the builders each have their own. A lot of times builders will have a quota. Some will say no rentals whatsoever, and it'll be right there in the contract. Others of them will be like, okay, 10 per month can go as rentals, right? And then the rest can't.
Some communities have even had, the HOAs have had votes where they've either voted against them or before they changed, the vote against rentals and stuff. So
that's a good question. Like, for example, oh goodness, what were we just doing a contract on? I think Tradition Homes, and it said on there, I certify that I am going to live here. And I think the same was true with Normandy Homes. I certify that
most builders, most of those in planned communities are that way. So
yeah.
So yeah.
All right, let's see what George has to say here. You read this one.
Hi, we are considering a townhome at $660K, appraised for same. Been on the market for 6 days. Farmers Branch, Addison would offering 7% below, asking too much. 7% of 660.
How do you know it already? How do you know it appraised for the same if you're not already under contract? Did they?
Maybe they did an appraisal.
Did somebody do an appraisal, or or is somebody saying that that's what it's worth, like market analysis wise? Because usually, if you're not under contract yet, you don't have an appraisal already.
Addison, no.
He's looking it up. I can tell you, like, that's not surprising. Townhome in Addison Farmers Branch. That's exactly what you'd expect in that area. Like, you have a lot of that, like a corporate appeal. I mean, they do have some single family homes, but goodness, not very many.
No, it does say, so that's days on the market. Days on the market are down 63%.
What's percent of original price?
Percent of original price is down 6%. So maybe you might be right on. Yeah.
Yeah. In Addison right now, your average percent of original list price is 94.7%. Now that's everything. That's not just new construction, and that's all construction types. But still, that tells you you've definitely got some concessions going on. So George, whoever's telling you it appraised for a certain amount, remember, don't take that as gospel unless they show you a report.
An appraisal, yeah.
So if the seller's like, this is what it appraised for, just say, show me. I want to see that. Don't take their word for it. That would be my suggestion. All right, El Cipote. How do I pronounce that? How do I pronounce that? You're better at Spanish than I do. El Cipote. I was going to close in a home, 1,100 square foot, $250,000 in Dallas. Cedar. Did you mean to say Cedar Crest? Is that what you meant to say?
Maybe.
Okay, so you were going to, but what happened that you didn't? All right. Here's our answer from George. The seller provided the appraisal. Okay, yeah. So was it a recent appraisal? I would just make sure, like, it was a recent appraisal, not really old or anything like that. And if so, it's like a legitimate, authentic appraisal. Okay, but yeah, you're right. That doesn't mean you have to pay that amount for sure.
Going to close, but he didn't. He just say he was going to close.
Yeah. Let's see here now. Okay. We already read that one. Okay. Alex, Devonshire. Okay, good.
Well, here we go. Answering too much inventory for sale, including too many new construction. Well, it's a building. It's a huge community, and it's and then you got in there really early, and so you're going to be. And I have heard a lot of people say about 80 is it gets packed. It's a rope. They have not built up the roads out there that much yet. So
I have heard that as well, that it's just not ready. And Forny is very builder friendly, very new construction friendly. Okay, if you're going to be that way, get your roads ready for it. You're going to do all these new construction homes and get your roads ready. Lack of buyers, offering prices are too low, schools low ranking. So the schools are not the worst I've seen. They're okay. But I definitely have heard what you're saying about not ready for the growing population. I've heard that from other people as well. Hard thing about Forny is, it's a good place to buy like your first time home. If you're just like, this is the only way I can get in the door and still live with my commute. Like, I want to own a home and it has to work commute wise, right? Because we've had buyers like that are just like, this is the only place that works for my commute. Just know that you're not going to see like huge price appreciation, because you've got a lot of competition in the same price range, right? Because it has so much, because Forny is putting out so much new construction. It's not to say it's not going to go up in value, because it probably will.
Well, in a neighborhood like that, would probably go up a little bit more.
Devonshire is very nice. Yeah.
If they stick to what they're going to do. So, and you got in early, so that means you getting earlier equity. So
That is probably
Yeah.
true. You actually probably have, even though you're saying it's unfortunate, you probably have more equity than you realize. But I think there's a lot to be said about when there's a lot of new construction is making sure you're not going to have to move anytime soon.
Yeah.
Wait until the new construction is done, because otherwise you're old competing with new.
Oh, that's true.
It's not
That's
easy.
hard. Yeah.
So, all right, let's see here now. And okay, we already read that one. Thank you. You're welcome. Very welcome. Following up on Justin
I think
area.
that's
How much is accepted offer of list price? I am asking for an inventory house. Lucky for you, Product the Master is right here, and he's pulling up trends as we speak.
Justin.
This is what he does all day long. Let's see. So we're looking at an inventory home. So new construction, I guess.
New.
Inventory, to me, that tells me new construction inventory, if that's what you mean, unless you mean pre-owned. Okay,
List price.
percent. Go ahead.
Right there.
Percent of original price, average 94%. Whew, 94.3%.
They are up 8% year over year.
But still, so don't go in there paying full price, okay? Don't pay. I mean, it is an average. You have to think about that. There's some that are probably requiring full price and others that are coming down a lot. But I would do your research on which ones can get a better deal. So, but yeah, definitely seeing some concessions there, 94% of list price. That's good stuff. All right. We already looked at that one. Seller provided the appraisal. K. Villejas, with all of the new construction, what is your opinion on the traffic through DNT going forward 2 years from now? It's a great question.
Yeah, they're expanding the DNT up that way that they have plans. I don't know their dates, their plans on when it's supposed to be done or anything like that. It's actually, the idea is that it will go all the way to Oklahoma.
Wow.
But I don't know what are the time frames on that. It's
Actually,
it's not too well. Depends on when you catch them up there north of Frisco. Sometimes it gets shut. Sometimes they'll close off some lanes and it gets backed up. But once they, in 2 years, you hope they'll have more of that opened up. It'll be moving faster. But I know they're working on, if you're going east-west, they're working on north side up there, the outer loop that's expanding in places.
I would say, like, look out where you buy. If it's within the path of where DNT is going to come through, that you need to take that into consideration.
Well, that's so on both sides of DNT. There's a good chunk of land they've already zoned on both sides. It's going to be commercial and retail. So it's So you're right on that. Yep. All
right, let's see here now. You did say it's pretty busy and congested already. I can't imagine what it will look like 2, 5, 10 years from now. That's a good point.
Depends on how well they do with the roads there. So
and you know what they're predicting for Salina, like what, 10 times bigger than it is right now? Yeah, Salina alone. So they're going to have to really broaden that. It's just not great that it's the main one. You need other options, Yeah. All right, let's see. Last comment. Good comment to end on.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Always super informative. That's our mission.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
for joining us.
Yes, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today and all the good comments. And hopefully you have a pretty good idea of where to go to look for some good deals. Probably be putting out another video about it pretty soon here where I spotlight those communities and see if we can find some more. We'll go from there. All right. Well,
see you later.
My drink is empty, so let's go get some dinner.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.